Probably 200 plus people. You didn't check their vaccination status.
No,
That I went to?
Secret.
Yeah.
We're just like,
when?
Oh, we're trying to move in.
No, they want me to bring it up.
So our parents are coming.
Crowder about to bring the receipts right here. Let's see what he's got. So Steven Crowder and his undercover team recently outed this dude right here, Jay Varma, Dr. Jay Varma, former senior advisor for public health for the NYC mayor's office from 2020 to 2021. He was the COVID czar of New York City, and they busted him. They went undercover on one of these undercover dates, and he basically admitted to going to these underground hedonism, adult parties, if you will, adult relation parties, him and his wife, these underground dance parties and adult relations parties, if you know what I mean, where he would use illegal substances. And so, yeah, and this was during the lockdown. So he convinced Mayor de Blasio to lock everything down, right, and have all these COVID restrictions. Meanwhile, he was breaking these restrictions in 2021 by going to these underground parties. So he wanted everyone to show vaccine cards in order to go into places of business. He wanted all these safety measures, yet he was a major hypocrite, and he failed to follow these measures himself, which we already knew. We already knew these people in power were doing these things. However, the importance of having people like Crowder exposing these people is that we have proof of it now. It's kind of like when a wife who is suspicious of her husband cheating, and she confronts him about it, but he denies it and gaslights her and says it's all in her head. And so she hires like a private investigator, and the private investigator gets pictures or video footage of him cheating or with another woman. And so it confirms it to the wife, and it's like the wife, it's like, yeah, I already kind of had an idea that this was going on. However, it's nice to have proof so that he can't lie to me about it and convince me that it is just all in my head. Things like this is what that is. It's like we already know they were doing these type of things, but it's nice to have the evidence, so that way when leftists and the toxic and abusive left try to gaslight us and tell us, no, it's not happening. No. Oh, source? Well, we have the source right here, right from the guy's mouth. And so what we're watching right here in this video, what I'm about to show you, is a Crowder confront segment where he confronts the guy himself and basically asks him straight up and confronts him about these things. So let's see what goes on, shall we?
There were no restrictions, no mandatory restrictions in New York, and I know this, I was always on the ball. There were no mandatory restrictions, and there was widespread COVID. And what happened? The entire city shut down because no cafe had a work.
My point is when there were shutdowns and restrictions, it seems like rules for thee, not for me, if you're having sex parties with people and hotels.
I think the idea with all of that was basically, again,
if you're having sex parties and dance parties with 200 people, while people there get punished if there are 10 or more at a gathering, or more than 40, and you have a dance party of 500 people, that seems like, my question is, you obviously doing that.
Isn't that true with everything though in life?
No, not everyone's having sex parties when they encourage lockdowns for other people.
No, but there's a million rules.
If you weren't afraid of it.
Why the left and the Democrats are so toxic is they never take responsibility for anything. It reminds me of when I'm talking to like a child and they're trying to make like tons of excuses, and they don't just say, yes, you know what, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And I said children, but grown-ups, a lot of grown-ups do this. It's why it's important to teach your children young to take responsibility. But they grow up to these adults and they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They try to make a million excuses. And that's what he's doing right here. He's trying to excuse it away, but clearly he had these lockdowns for people which he didn't follow, and they try to fearmonger everyone into getting the vaccine, into social distancing, into staying indoors. And yet he wasn't doing these things himself. So what Crowder tries to bring up to him is like, well, you clearly weren't afraid of it, yet you wanted all these rules for all these everyone. You wanted all of these rules for everybody else, but not for yourself.
why those policies, my point. But if you're afraid of it, you wouldn't be having sex parties and you wouldn't be having dance parties with 200 people when everyone else is locked down.
Yeah, exactly. If COVID was really this big thing that they made it out to be, then you wouldn't be doing this stuff. It's the same thing like in Gavin Newsom here in California, how he was caught at a birthday party with all these people, no one was wearing masks. And it's like, okay, you're telling everyone that this is dangerous, that we should stay inside, social distance, we need vaccines in order to go into places. Yet you guys aren't even living by your own rules, so you're not even scared of it, yet you want us to be scared of it?
Because I'm saying that it's not...
And not checking for vaccinations.
It's not individual.
Right?
No, those are totally different issues. I mean, I think
what I'm talking about.
What I'm trying to get at is the main issue is it's not about individual level risk. It's the same thing as driving.
But it is about you as a government official being the architect of the policy.
Real quick, the only thing I would say is I wish Steven Crowder would have let him talk. Like, the best thing you could do is let these people talk and show everybody what hypocrites they are and see what lame excuses that they try to explain away their horrible behavior with. So I wish Crowder would kind of just let him talk. That's probably my biggest issue with this whole thing.
Those things are
having sex parties and having dance parties while businesses are being shut down, and New York sees an unemployment that's twice the national average as a result of policy.
During the time, I wasn't going to these dance parties in the first year and a half of COVID. I don't know what you're talking about.
You weren't having sex parties? And then dance parties?
No. My wife and I had a party with like 10 people who everybody got vaccinated. Not vaccinated, everybody got tested and things like that.
There was over 12 people when the gatherings at that point you had to do in secret because no one else could gather 10 or more. People were dying alone because they couldn't visit members in the hospital.
That's not... I think you're missing the bigger picture.
And when you had 200 at the dance party, that's 5 times the amount for everyone else living in this city.
I wasn't at any big... I don't know why you're talking about me specifically. I wasn't at any dance parties. I was literally working.
Yeah, you did. You had a dance party of 200 plus people. You didn't check their vaccination status.
No,
That I went to?
Secret.
Yeah.
Just like, when? Oh, we're trying to move in.
No, you want to bring it up.
So our parents are coming.
Crowder about to bring the receipts right here.
This week, actually, like later this week.
Like in the summer, I think the first time I went to a dance party was like the summer of
coming from Korea.
20...
You understand, though, how that's a tough sell to the American people, the business
owners. We had an outdoor event in July.
I get to spend more time with
the summer of COVID or something like that.
So for context, I want you to, I don't have the video of the actual undercover video that was taken, but in there he's admitting that he went to these, these adult relations parties. He was doing illegal substances, and when his wife were explaining the scope of these parties and how it was like fun for him and thrilling. Yet now he's trying to downplay it. Now that he's getting called out on his BS, now he's trying to downplay it.
I think we were outdoor event in the summer of 2020.
I don't know how much
I was in an event the summer of 2020.
And now all of a sudden his memory doesn't conveniently work. Well, I think what happened.
So
it was an outdoor event.
You had sex parties.
You have a dossier on me?
Yeah.
Why? What is going on here?
Well, a lot of people have been affected by this policy, and my question is genuine. It's just level with me here.
More offensive? Dude,
you weren't afraid of it. Here, we got the mandate clip.
But why? What is going on here?
Get vaccinated? Sex parties. That you had sex parties where you rented a hotel. Everyone had a blast. The timeline is that is during the time when people were still being locked down. And then you had dance party later on. This was in May or June of 2021, which still would have been 5 times beyond the amount that everyone else in the city was permitted.
Yeah, so when the war happened, and they split.
Yeah, the summer of 2021.
And Kyrie Irving wasn't able to play basketball because he wouldn't be vaccinated. But you're at a dance party.
What's going on here? Are you trying to like?
Yeah, I can tell you. So I'm Steven Crowder, and I know everything that you have been talking about.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been negatively affected by your policies here in this country. And I just want you to level with me at this point. If you were living where you're not afraid of it,
we're gonna try to say,
I mean, right now you're giving me the story of it's only a certain amount of people who wear a mask. You're having sex parties while that's happening. You're having dance parties.
I'm also telling stories to somebody.
And you also
that I'm dating.
better if you get married.
Oh, now he's just I'm just telling stories, So what is it? Were you lying to that girl that was undercover, or are you lying to Steven right now? Like, which one? Either way, you're lying. Either way, you are BSing somebody. Not a good look.
And the teachers, you have kids. I mean, New York, the results have been abysmal. I mean, the decline in mathematics and education, the reading levels, it's twice the national
But now, I
average.
don't know.
At what point is there some accountability or culpability for people
You probably couldn't go wrong
in this
either
city?
way.
This city is not what it was.
I liked moving in with Jordan.
You're the
before I got
architect of
married
COVID
because we,
policy.
Got to.
If you could change it, would you still do it?
Yeah, when you lived with someone, whether they're a roommate or
You
a
recording
Would you still
me?
do it?
I didn't realize that
Yeah,
I was
I am.
being set up for something.
different.
I'm Steven Crowder,
with them?
and this is going to be for the
now
public
you
to
know,
see if you have anything that you want to say
Oh,
about
this
it.
is like.
Yeah, it's like
I have that question. I have one more question.
That was great. If there's anything you want to say, this is going to be aired to the people. If there's anything you want to say about it, he's like, yeah, that's going to be kind of difficult.
De Blasio, is he a weenie because he didn't enforce more authoritarian measures, or is he a weenie because he didn't stand up to the teachers union who irreparably harmed children?
Yeah.
Single signals.
Yeah.
But, you know, dad's getting what dad's calling. So.
Is he a weenie because he didn't do more to lock people down while you were living?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So notice how he's shut down. Here's the thing: if you didn't do anything wrong, if everything you did was right, then why not just say what you were doing? Like, why not just put it all out there? The camera's right on you. If you got nothing to hide, you just say it. I mean, you could argue, like, maybe he's afraid they're going to take it out of context and stuff. You know, it's not like he has his own camera that could be filming. I don't know. If it were me, I would just pull out a camera right now. But if I had nothing to hide, I would just say it all out there. And that's how you know that this dude right here, yeah, he wasn't acting in the best interest of the people. He's completely being revealed. And he knows it. And he knows he's screwed. That's why he's like shutting down right here, and he's trying to figure out a game plan in his head.
High on the hog?
Yeah, it's
Or is he a
very, like,
weenie because he didn't have the
I
spine to
think
stand up to the
Netherlands,
teachers union, who I think we would both
My
agree?
dad was saying like, oh, he read this news article.
Correct,
where
and didn't do what was in the best
European
interest of the
countries
kids
just,
and harmed a
do that trial
generation of
period before they
students.
get married. And he's like, oh, it's very logical. And then my mom's like, on the more
I'm not
emotional
sure
side,
there's
she
a
was like,
single-
I wanted kids in school. The mayor wanted kids in school, but the teachers union didn't.
I'm pretty
The
much
teachers union wanted all the teachers to stay home with Zoom so they'd be safe,
I'm also
even
not
though it
trying to
means the
fight
kids
people.
get hurt.
Like if her dad
So the mayor was screwed,
don't get married.
but then he
Or go
said
together, I'm
he
gonna
has
be
to
like,
work for them for like votes.
I'm not gonna be like,
That's the surest way to ensure you'll never get.
You know how tough that is for a parent to take?
yeah. It's the long game, like you're saying.
Dude,
Do you have children?
Dang, this dude is completely like, he knows he's screwed. That's why he's shut down. He knows he's screwed.
School?
it's the same thing. In 5 years, it won't really matter what.
Yeah.
The order you get it in. Yeah.
How do you think Kyrie Irving's going to react
Exactly.
when he wasn't allowed to play basketball?
I know, right?
And the people who
Should be good though.
enacted that policy
Dude, that's exciting for it.
were having orgies, effectively.
This is a lot of weight to it.
Okay, I didn't know.
I'm not sure there's anything that I'm going to say that you would report accurately. So I'm not.
Yeah, so you could make the argument, well, they're going to edit this, deceptively edit this. But again, just put it out there. Just put it out there. If you didn't do anything wrong, then just put it out there. But clearly he's been caught because, again, we have the video is up where he's undercover. This dude right here, Jay Varma, is undercover on this date with this girl, and he's totally telling her everything. Which, by the way, side note here, when are these guys gonna like smarten up? Like, when are these dudes on these dates here gonna like smarten up and not like say these things on dates? Like, how many times has it been where these people have gone undercover on dates, spilt the beans on all this stuff, like admit to wild stuff, and then it turns out they were on camera? Like, I don't know. If it were me, if I was on a date with someone, right, and they all of a sudden were interested in how I handled COVID, like something culture worthy, like, you know, like how you handled something, or if they're asking about DEI practices or something, I would kind of, an alarm would go off in my head, like in a little alert. I would be like, like at this point, after all these hidden camera videos have come out, I would probably learn to be like, there's something up here. But no one has learned this yet. None of these guys have learned this yet, which is great. I'm glad that they haven't learned, and I hope they don't learn. Otherwise, we wouldn't get clips like this.
Not sure.
These are your quotes.
Yeah, you know, I'm also babbling in what I thought is a date with somebody. And my wife and I have an open relationship. That is not something I'm afraid to talk about.
No, I don't. I'm not judging your sexual choices.
I have no qualms. You can talk about my wife. You can talk about me.
I'm not. I'm judging the violating of policies that you enacted that decimated businesses and families while having sex parties.
I'm not. There was one that I can remember.
And dance parties.
I went to a party
while other people, if they would have done so, if they didn't have the luxury of government protection,
there were lots of
could have been
people.
arrested.
In the summer of 2021, things were open.
The guidelines were 10 people or less.
The guys on camera saying, "Oh yeah, the hotels, they wouldn't let us throw these parties because they didn't want because of the COVID policy." So no, that's a lie right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys learned something today about this guy right here, and it just proves that everything that we say about these people usually ends up being correct. That's why they're quick to label us conspiracy theorists, crazy, or they just label us as just racist, bigots, uninformed, science deniers. But like 90% of everything we were saying like 3 or 4 years ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago, has eventually came out to be right. And while this dude, I have learned nothing new from this dude, I am not surprised by this guy, but it's still good to have it on tape. So that way the toxic, abusive left, they can't gaslight us and lie to us and tell us that we're just making it up in our heads. We actually have proof now. Props to Steven Crowder for confronting this guy and for his investigative work. If you want to see the full video, it is up on his channel on Rumble and on YouTube. Both videos are up on there. I encourage you to go check them out. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Are you guys surprised by this, or is this just another day that ends in Y? Leave your comment down below. Give the video a like. Share it around if you want. Subscribe to my channel. You'll be helping me out a lot. I got many other videos I think you'll enjoy if you're into the culture wars and politics. So subscribe to my channel. Like I said, you'll be helping me out a lot. This has been Cool Vic. I hope you guys have a good one. Stay cool, ladies and gentlemen.